Hey guys, this is Andrew Lee, and this is a weird setup for my channel, the California Insurance Agents Group, because Eric's filming everything. I didn't bring my gear because Eric told me not to bring my gear. We're at a conference in Phoenix. It's his hometown, so I figured he'd have all the gear, and he did. He did. He came through.
I'm a little short on some stuff, but it's just some stuff popped up and caused us to be out of studio, but we're making it work.
Yeah, you're out of town.
Yeah,
You're out of town, exactly. So this is Eric Fierro. You guys know him. He's been on the channel for a while, and this is Kyle Kokot. He is a spectacular producer turned agent, owner, agency. His specialty, man, it stretches from, I mean, really what I was impressed about in the beginning was the fact that you locked yourself in a room for like 3 weeks and implemented a system like Facebook ads that he didn't know about, and he just grinded it out. He's like, nobody bother me. I'm just gonna figure this out. And that was like my first exposure.
He had like a bushy beard.
Yeah.
His hair was all
Smell.
He hadn't brushed his teeth in 3 weeks. Like he was just on it.
But
That's how to do, you know.
That was my dream. That's sort of my dream. Funny enough, like I wish I had the time and the balls to do that, right? So that's how I got my first exposure to Kyle, and then it turns out he's a cool dude. I'm like, all right, cool. It's cool,
Appreciate it, brother.
right? But I wanted to get, of course, just because we're all here in the same room. I mean, Eric Fierro is impressive in his own right. You guys know that he's been around the industry. He's an industry titan for 20-some-odd years.
I've been here a bit.
Yeah, here and there,
He's the giant in the industry.
And Kyle is like, dude, just skyrocketing. Like it was a skyrocket this year, was it not? Like, just sort of tell me your story.
Yeah, I mean, back in I like to say July of 2023, I had joined Josh Lustig's program, and like he had mentioned, I took it very serious. You spend some money, and I was really looking to make sure that we had agents working for us, and we wanted to make sure we can provide a steady lead flow and just continue the business that we were doing. And I was really nervous. I was cringing at in my stomach. Things were always churning. Like, is this going to work? Always questioning myself. But again, I bought into the program, and like he said, I took 3 weeks. I remember telling my brother, I was like, "You're not going to see me for probably this whole month. I'm going to go home, and I'm literally going to, for 7 days a week, 5 hours a day. I mean, that's literally all I did. I was eating, breathing, sleeping, videos, and basically learning what I needed to learn, and building the confidence that I needed to kind of get it to where we're at now, right? So I'd say in June, I rolled out my first Facebook ad webinar stuff that I was doing.
It was June.
Yeah, June.
Wow.
I joined the program
recent?
right after Medicare Con in April, and then in May, I basically did the onboarding. Was doing, like I said, barricading myself in all of May, where I'm just like learning it. And then in June, I think it was like June 20 something. I always want to go back and look at the first date where we ran the first ad. Of course, things didn't go the way I wanted it to. A lot of ups and downs, trial and errors. But by the end of it,
I didn't know that you hadn't been running this. I thought, man, when we met at Medicare Con and we had that conversation that night, we were in that tent.
Yeah.
Like I thought that you had already been doing this program. I didn't know you hadn't done that yet.
Yeah, well, so I had basically had,
these are Facebook ads we're talking about. Facebook ads.
The year after I'd done it.
Is that
passed in 2024? Yeah.
Okay.
It was this past, because we're getting confused in time. But I was gonna say I was definitely running it then, because that's where you had showed me a few things that I started to implement in my business. So, so the end of July of 2023, we basically got it to where we were pumping out, between me and my brother, pumping out at least like 50 apps a month. I'm not gonna say 50 different clients. It was 50 apps. About 20 to 25 Medicare. The rest were ancillary, CHAS, HIPS, and whatnot. And fast forward, we moved our agents LOA in January of 2024. And by March, they were selling 50 a month from it. So we knew what we had. We could absolutely scale this to the moon. Now kind of what I learned and everything along the way is, as you're running ads, you start to build confidence, and you can do whatever you want with this stuff, man. I mean, it's really just kind of getting a little creative, understanding the pain points of the clientele you're dealing with. A lot of my ads that I run are, these are actual problems that they're having, run ads like that. And, we're dabbling in everything now. We're running local ads, we're running a lot of veteran stuff. So just helping a lot of different aspects of the Medicare community now. And it's been a wild ride. We definitely started to skyrocket. I like to say.
Crazy to watch, man.
Started to do a lot more apps, and it's pretty cool because again, I used to look up to these guys and, other people in the industry that I look at still to this day as mentors. And, again, a lot of you guys on this trip, everybody keeps saying nice things about me, and it's, it's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's, like I say, at the end of the day, we're putting in, we're working hard, and, it's really off the backs of other people who have already invented that wheel, and we're not reinventing it. We're just kind of getting creative and
giving credit to them, right? And
giving exactly. At the end of the day, I'm always going to give credit. I mean, credit where credit's due. I mean, I'm not going to ever do that. So.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then Eric, I mean, just with your expertise on Facebook ads, right? With this whole, so we're here for sort of like a webinar kind of Facebook funnel to a webinar for Medicare agent training, right?
Yeah.
In your experience and I call him the Wizard of Oz, in your wizardry,
he is a wizard.
in your Harry, in your wizard, Harry. In your years of seeing the evolution of Facebook ads, like what is it now that's like wow compared to what it was?
It's so here's the reality is that there in our space in the insurance industry, it's become a lot more saturated because now word has spread, courses have been made, people are trying and dabbling and failing, and then they bounce out. So I would just say that the message is not actually very much different than when we first got started. Really, the main difference is just that there's less people who have the risk tolerance to do this. And what I believe is in order to be successful at running Facebook ads, you have to be okay with throwing out duds, because people want an exact cookie cutter replica of what works for Kyle. And if you do, and they think that if they copy his exact ad copy, video, or image, that they're going to produce the same exact results he is. No. Not accounting for the targeting, not accounting for the demographic he's focused on, not accounting for several other factors. But they just like, well, hey, if he's getting this kind of lead cost, I want to do the exact same thing. One of the cool things that Josh teaches is that, and he said it clearly. He's like, I want to teach you guys how to think creatively, so that if I'm not here anymore, or if I never even was here, like you could do all this on your own. Yeah. Meaning that you need to learn the foundations and the principles behind creating the ad so that you can be creative on your own. That way, if you make an advertisement and it tanks, you still have the foundation to be able to create another type of ad, try it out, and maybe that will win. But that's where agents get scared. Yeah. Agents don't want to take that risk because, and rightfully so, a lot of them are budget-wise, they don't have the wherewithal to be able to test
to dive
that
in,
much, right? And so, but that also hinders them from ever getting started. Right. Where I would believe, like, hey, well, if that's the case, then maybe what you need to do right now is, one example, if you have even 30 Medicare clients so far, why don't you try cross-selling them a few other plans to create some revenue,
advanced premium stuff
that you can go ahead and invest into running some ads. It takes a little bit of work, but if you don't have any other creative way of getting funding, that's a great way to do it.
Well, if you're not creative like I am, as much as I think I am, there's two models to do this, right? You can go straight, castaway and lock yourself in a room with the volleyball as your only friend,
Wilson,
and then just crank it out, and then just knock out what you have to do. I don't know how much sleep you got. I don't know what the.
I mean, I was sleeping. It was just I took it on like a full-time job, like like you were going to work every day. The same thing you were doing in office. Our office took a hit of. Well, I keep touching the table. Our office took a hit. Where, again, I wasn't, at that time I was still producing and everything, still produced to this day, but I literally took myself out of the office, no longer producing.
It's hard for people to do.
It's hard for people to do because everybody keeps thinking, it's like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. You got to shift the way you're thinking of, instead of thinking like you have to continue to doing what you're doing or your business is going to fail, your business is going to fail if you don't stop doing what you're doing now and learn this. So that's kind of, again, and that's a lot of what I got out of Lustig's program is shifting the way you started thinking. So like literally like the first video I think I watched was him basically saying, listen, this isn't a do for you. I know you got guys like Eric that'll actually do that.
I was going to get there.
I hate to take that away from you, Andrew. But you know, for me, it was what I needed, right? You know, I wanted to learn this myself. I didn't want to have to rely on anybody. I wanted to be able to build a business because I know at some point, you know, it'll get to the point where, you know, maybe there's a day that I want to exit. That's not anywhere near my horizon. But if that ever became a thing, you know, I've got to be able to have my own marketing and sales and systems and processes in place that, you know, it's not just, you know, somebody's done this for me, so I'm completely relying on. What happens if that person's no longer there? You know, what happens, you know, if Eric's no longer here and he can't do this for you
I'll always be here.
He'll always be here, but that's a different story. But for example, if he's not there for you, we wanted to make sure our agency can continue to be able to do
Self-reliance.
this. Exactly, man. That's the biggest thing for us.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And if you don't want to do that rendition of going that intense, I mean, of course, there's people. Their agents, of course, are encouraged to buy leads when they first come into the industry, or recruit, or I don't know, just useless things. That these leads could be all right if you're, if you have the gift of gab from day one. Yeah, that could work out definitely. But if you don't have anywhere to start, but maybe you have more money than time, because most people have sweat equity that they need to get out instead of money, right? They don't have enough money to come in with. Like, I had $600 coming in, but I did spend it on leads. It didn't work, and that was a waste of money. So I was down to 100, and then had to do other things, and had to beg and do all the things that I did to get here, right? And beg for clients.
We'll talk about that.
Excuse me, sir.
So,
Another, sir.
yeah. Some more policy, sir. So there's another way you can do this, right? You hire either a coach, you hire somebody that's done this, like Eric has, or you have it done for you, right?
Yeah.
And there's some options where, it's done for you. Eric is definitely my mentor on this. He is definitely helping me out in a big way too. I mean, it's with the advent of AI and with just all of these crazy things happening with CRMs and the way people distribute leads and how to market and all this stuff. Like, it's so hard to consolidate all that information unless you've locked yourself in a room for 3 weeks, right? Like, it's really hard to consolidate that information. But now you have somebody that's had 20 years in this, and me, that's sort of been the guy that's like, okay, I was like right at the cusp of doing it, but I just sort of like, it just got a little too expensive or a little too hard. I had excuses too. Everybody has their own thing, right? And I'm willing to admit that. So if you need help, I mean, get help. I mean, even, Eric will teach me along the way, and this is sort of what's happening with your, account, and this is that, and this is how much you're spending, and this is where you're supposed to be at. Like, if you need that kind of accountability when it comes to marketing too, utilize somebody like Eric. I mean, this is if you're getting gray hairs and you're, utilize somebody like Eric, right? The self-reliance part, I completely respect. And there's other forms of self-reliance. You can have your own discipline in other, ways. But there are options to, I'm not going to call it a shortcut, because you still got to call and take the action. Because the leads are going to get generated, and they're going to be more personalized to you with Facebook ads, and the way that you do things, and the way that you do things, and the way that you customize, their ads for your respective people that you work with. I mean, if that all works out, I mean, then you have something going for you. Now we're cooking, and now that whole, you slayed that Facebook ad dragon, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm on my way at the very least.
Yeah.
I'm starting my journey.
Yeah.
And then, I'm still on my journey. Kyle definitely,
I'm
would
still
say
on
he's
the
still on his journey.
for sure.
Eric, Eric is always evolving too. I mean,
Always.
I use just testing out AI, and so it is that's just what it is. So just being around this kind of environment, and also having this kind of service and this kind of discipline, this is what's needed to really lock this in. So either you do it his way or his way. I mean, that's really up to you guys, or if you guys are just, owning a small town, and you guys are just grassroots gurus, and you got to teach me something, hit me up.
Yeah. I was just going to mention, though, if I'm not, maybe I'm wrong, but when you got into this program, or prior to getting into this program, were you running your own Facebook ads?
Yeah, I was doing very brief. So big mentor of mine, obviously my upline, Justin Brock. very thankful for him. Reached out to him. He was so open with everything, and he initially just showed me like generically, here's some ads. So we set up some. I think years. This was back in like 2021 or 2022. He set up some like veteran Facebook ads for us, and it wasn't that he did it for us. He showed us kind of what buttons to push, but I never grasped or understood like what I was actually pushing. I wasn't actually like, it wasn't like a program where I was understanding it for myself. It was basically, it was done for me and I was just putting my credit card on there, right?
Yeah.
And it worked very well. Like it was doing everything I needed to do. But again, I did not understand what I was actually doing. So, if you want to just kind of start off and dabble in it, I always say, start off with like a simple Facebook lead form, something very simple and easy to get yourself familiar with. Okay, I can push buttons and it'll start to build your confidence. Like, oh, this thing actually does bring leads in, like, and I can call it and start working this stuff. So it's really just, like you said earlier, you got to make that commitment to actually start. But yes, to answer your question, I was briefly just running, like I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was running ads per se. Yeah. But until his program, I wasn't really running ads for myself.
Well, I was going to say, some agents are not going to really ever want to manage all the marketing. Like they maybe want to understand it better, but they would still rather have somebody else do it so they can focus on other aspects of the business. I think in your business, you guys have already separated your respective responsibilities so that is mainly your responsibility. So you're not having to juggle 50 million things in your your business because you have other people for that. There's going to be in other industries, like with Andrew. Andrew doesn't really want to manage that part. He just rather understand some of it, but he'd rather have someone else doing that so that he can focus on his strengths, right? Because that's one of the things that I think a lot of agents also feel like, man, I need to be great at every aspect of the business, and it's just like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
In fact, that's going to be the biggest detriment to your business is you trying to
figure this out all on your own.
So it's like there's going to be cases where you need to just say, I'm going to focus on my strengths, on, as Josh would say, revenue generating activities, and really, when you can, start dispersing out the other activities to other people so that you can, that's how you're going to grow.
I know you specialize in like VA kind of like veteran Medicare help, right? Like VA, and help them choose out what options are going to be good for them. How do you sort of like implement your technology to help out, let's specifically say, the veteran community?
Yeah, so great question. I mean, obviously we're running Facebook ads with it. With the veteran stuff, we run it more as like a Facebook lead form. We happen to have an AI chatbot booked up with it where it sends out automatic messages. Haven't got as advanced as Eric with the voice stuff, but we just have the simple text message one set up where it books appointments for us. It's doing it at a pretty high level, I like to say. I mean, it's worked out very well for us. And, a lot of the stuff with the veteran is just really just the misinformation, them not understanding what's available, if they need Medicare Part B or not. We have two different audiences with the veteran. We're working people who are already on Medicare and trying to figure it out and navigate it. They may have a plan already. And then we obviously are working people who are 64 plus and, turning 65, trying to figure that out. So, and I also like to say, don't be scared with people with TRICARE for Life, Champ VA. Don't be scared of those people. I know you'll have other agency heads and owners that may have like bigger downlines under them that they don't like to mess with that. Typically, obviously, you don't want to mess with that with newer agents because they don't really understand kind of what they're doing. You're going to get a higher complaint ratio with it. But I'm going to tell you, don't be scared of that stuff. Definitely be working with people with TRICARE or Champ VA. Don't kind of shun away from it because there's a lot of business that's left on the table, and we're absolutely helping a lot of those. I know I sent you some links of
very helpful.
What we're sending and how we're pitching this stuff to people with veterans is sending them links and showing them right on these websites exactly where the federal government, being the VA, TRICARE for Life, Champ VA, actually talking about this and how it works very well paired with a Medicare Advantage Part C plan. So definitely don't be scared to talk to those people. It's a very underserviced community. So, but also people turning 65, very underserviced. There's more people turning 65 this year. This will be the biggest year ever. I think a bunch of people talked about that. It's the biggest year ever, and the next 5 years in a row will be the same thing. So whether you're working veterans, local seminars, in-person webinars, local, whatever it is, man. At the end of the day, if you're able to just bring in, just put out high quality content, and it's not anything crazy where you gotta be Eric Fierro or be, Josh Lustig or Justin Brock or Matt Taylor, any of these guys that you see, right? It doesn't have to be like that. Like when I started, it literally was like I thought it was the stupidest thing, but the stupidest ads work the best, right? It really does.
That's funny enough.
I keep
It's true.
finding that. So yeah, man, just don't be scared of it and take the commitment. So
that's a good message. Any last messages for the California people in terms of the Facebook realm?
Yeah, again, it's right now. It's a great time to be running advertisements. I think that Facebook is still, of all the social media platforms, Facebook is still the strongest place to do it. Now, doesn't mean you shouldn't dabble in the other ones, but you should be at minimum doing that. And I think even though one-to-one consent has been pushed back in terms of its implementation, I think you should always still be moving more and more towards the one-to-one consent, which is a lot easier when you're just having ads ran on your own account. So I think that's a big benefit. Plus the big play, branding, being able to put your brand out there consistently so that more and more people in your area are seeing who you are, what you're about, and what you can do to help serve them.
Exactly.
Perfect. So yeah, guys, just to close up here, if you guys want to, again, grow and just really be self-reliant, I mean, you have an example right here. If you guys want to use a service and just have a coach, a mentor, or just have somebody do it for you, you have somebody like Eric right here, right? So there's so many ways to skin a cat. Of course, there's everything works a little bit in terms of marketing anyway. So if you guys can just, utilize 20% of this, 20% of that, and then 20% of whatever you guys do now, that's 60% more, potential there, right, from where you guys started. So just wanted to give you guys like some words of encouragement and how, technology. We're at the Institute of Technology in Tempe right now, so I feel like that was an appropriate topic. But yeah, thank you guys for being on. I know Kyle, man, you need to, seriously. But you're not going to be new anymore. Definitely gotta get you back on more. Eric, love having you on. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks.